Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so decided I was going to go out and take a walk. It's almost 2 o'clock. I came out late. Took a daytime nap pretty much for the same reason. Woke up sore as hell. Chest area this time, all of my left chest. I've been working hard. That's what it really comes down to, pushing the body. But I wasn't going to waste the day after I ate breakfast. Decided to take that nap and then woke up and said, nah, put some music on a particular playlist, but not in order. And instead of wanting to arrange it in the room, I was like, let me get out the house and probably go try to find somewhere to arrange the music. Maybe somewhere to sit. I don't know where I'm going, but that's kind of the plan. Problem is, if I'm gonna make these videos, I'm gonna end up messing up the battery. But I got my charger with me, so hopefully where I find myself, I can also charge the phone. But yeah, that's the plan, man. Just go somewhere and be creative. Put on this. I ain't worn this since I've been over here. Decided to pull that out the suitcase. Since I got the black shoes to go with it, it match a little better, I think. But yeah, man, just want to get out the house. Didn't want to stay in there. It's a nice Friday out here, so I figured I better get some sunshine, some fresh air. Body isn't sore anymore. Took a nice shower. It was actually pretty warm for a change. Trying to figure out when it's warm. Because there are certain times when their water heater doesn't work as hot. I think that might be on purpose. But just about 25-30 minutes ago, it was working pretty solid, I guess. It never actually gets hot, but you know, sometimes it's cooler than others. Like this morning, it was okay. Last night, it was horrible, like that kind of thing. So I don't know, but I feel good though. I feel fresh. I just knew I wasn't going to stay in that house. I knew that. In that unit rather, but yeah, man, that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. I don't know, I was feeling a shift of positivity. I definitely feel a shift. You know, I did a lot of praying before I took that nap, as I often do, and the Holy Spirit compelled me to take that nap, which is why I did. I was telling him, whatever you want me to do, if you want me to go out, if you want me to, I told him, I was like, whatever you want me to do, Lord, just compel me to do it. And compelled me to turn over and go to sleep. So I just trust the timing. You know, it's not about what I do, it's when I do it. Because the Lord's always got something special aligned around the corner, especially if I follow that spirit and that timing. And that's what it was. It was like, you know, anything that otherwise my mind was compelling me to do, I was telling God, I'm going to put it aside so I can do what it is you want me to do. Whatever it is. So that I can be aligned with the next blessing and the next gift that you have for me. And that's really what the meditation was about. I don't find myself thinking too much about, on this day, about what I didn't do, or what should be done, or what shouldn't be done, or what have you. It's just, you're not wasting time if you're talking to the Holy Spirit. You're not wasting time if you're praying. That's what I've learned for the walk that I'm in. For my walk, thus far, only time when I really go wrong is when I don't involve God in what I'm doing. So this was me saying, I wanted you to align me with the timing, accompany me on my creative journey, send me somewhere from which to do it, and I want to enjoy myself when I get there, and that's it. And I'll follow my nose the rest of the way and let him lead that way. So I'm pretty certain that's exactly what's happening here. He's leading me towards something. Told me to dress up a little better than I usually do. It's one of my favorite sweaters. And just get out here and just go, man. Just absolutely go. I haven't done too much thinking about Kay. Her birthday's actually tomorrow. We did a lot of praying for her in regards to her birthday. And the kind of energy that came to mind when thinking about her was, regardless of what she's doing or what her circumstance is, whether it be positive or a negative mindset, what the Lord wanted me to do was hold her up in prayer. That's what was being compelled to me while I was sitting there meditating earlier today. I was meditating a lot of things. Everything that's going on in Gaza, friends and family, myself and my housing situation, and where it's headed, where I'm at in my life in terms of certain things that the Lord wants me to do. And it landed on her as well. And when it stopped on her, it was like, what I want you to do is pray for her as if she can't seem to bring herself to pray for the people that she loves. That's what he was telling me. He was like, Don't try to answer questions about what she's doing in life like you did in the past. Just look at it as if you had somebody in your life that could pray for you, the people that you love, rather, not just for you, but for everything that you otherwise wanted to pray for when you couldn't pray. When you couldn't pray, when you didn't have it in you to pray, when you didn't care nothing about praying, and you were responsible for holding others up spiritually. That's exactly what the Lord put in my heart today. He was like, pray for her with the fervor that you would pray for your own loved ones, for her loved ones, though. As if she couldn't pray for them herself for whatever it is she's doing. If she's celebrating her birthday, if she's in a space of whatever mindset it is. Not to say that the Lord was telling me she was or was not praying, but that he was assigning me to uplift the things that matter to her in prayer. It's quite interesting how that went. It's quite interesting. That's exactly how that went. And I was like, Holy Spirit, that's a really thoughtful thought to place in someone's mind. But he said, but that's what I'm telling you to do. It's not just a thought in your head. That's what I was kind of going back and forth with the Lord in my head. It was like, that's a thoughtful thing. I would love for someone to do that for me. And especially during the times when I was in darkness or depressed or was mad at God various different times throughout the course of these 39 years where I wasn't really praying hard. I wasn't even knowing to pray hard. My energy was bad. I was messing around, dabbling in stuff I shouldn't have been. Maybe I was high, hanging out with friends or something. Just stuff that, whatever life came at me, but far away from God. But I knew that there were people I would love to see covered in prayer. And I didn't think of them in those moments because I was doing whatever I was doing. I wasn't praying for those people as hard as I would have loved to because I was doing whatever I was doing. He said, I'm assigning you for her for that today. But I don't know who to pray for. He said, I got that part. And I don't know her people. I don't know her. I don't know what matters to her. I don't know who. That's what I was telling God. Like, I don't know who she would otherwise need me to pray for. I don't know who's in her life. Like, I don't know. How can I hold her down in that way if I'm not in her circle? And the Lord said, don't worry about that. Just intentions. It's good enough. Intentions. Intentions in regards to if for some reason you needed somebody to hold up the people that you care the most about in prayer while you were off doing darkness and you didn't think nothing of them, and otherwise it's your responsibility to do so, you would want someone to do that for you. Because what I understand about being in darkness is, if you're a good person in darkness, or if you're a good person in folly, so to speak, you're messing around and being influenced by everything but God, you still have people that you want protected in prayer. You still have things that you want uplifted in prayer. You don't want the enemy to have his hands on things that otherwise you want covered. This is what I know. And I remember times in life where the Lord had to warn me not to do certain things. And either I heed those warnings or not. And I told you guys this on this channel, where I was messing around doing stuff I had no business doing. The Lord warned me. I didn't stop what I was doing. And then he proceeded to do what it is that otherwise would not have appreciated. What he warned me he was going to do. He actually did that. This is why I have such a strong faith in telling you guys that the Lord told me this, the Lord told me that I followed the Holy Spirit to roll over and stuff like that, because he whispered something in my head, said, if you don't stop doing this, I'm going to do that. Just like he's been telling me to roll over, just like he told me to pray for her people, just like that same voice, that same energy, and that same more or less way, he's communicated to me things that came to pass in the real world. That's what I'm here to say. And I'm sure most of you who follow me know that I feel this way and I've seen things in this way. I've perceived the world this way. But it wasn't as simple as me hearing some voices in my head and just moving about the day. He'll say it's going to be a great car over there, and then I look up and there's a great car right there. This type of stuff has happened on numerous occasions. So when it came to this voice telling me to pray for her, that's what came to mind for me. It's like, There was a time when he warned me not to do something or I'm gonna do this. And sure enough, he did that. And that was real bad for me. A lot worse than I would have ever welcomed into my life for the sake of what it is that I was doing wrong. You understand what I'm saying? I would have never wanted that consequence. I also didn't trust that voice at that time. I was looking at it like most likely you're looking at it as I'm telling you this. Like, this boy got voices in his head telling him stuff and he's heeding these warnings, he's crazy. That's how I was looking at that voice. And then he did what it is he told me he was gonna do if I kept on acting up. Not the first time I said this. And so I trust that voice from here on out. Now it's like, all right, man, you win. After a couple times of that type of stuff happening, you win. I'm not gonna question that voice. And since it's been so many years since that actually happened, now I'm rolling now. You don't have to prove that to me no more. I don't have to sit up here and say, why am I listening to this? No, I get it. I get it now. You've done enough real world stuff in the name of what you said you were gonna do with that voice for me to understand that that voice holds a lot more weight than maybe some of the voices I might hear from regular human beings who tell me they're gonna do something and don't do it. That voice here, the Holy Spirit that's in my heart and head, has followed through on more of what was promised than human beings have. And so now it's like, all right, man, all right, you tell me this is what it is. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to self. I'm talking to you. For which whom I pray and who answers my call every single time. So that's the context of what it is I'm trying to express to you. That is a real thing in my life. Has been for a while now. And it came to me in many forms, not always warnings, you better or else, but sometimes like it's gonna be fine, and it is. And so at this point, it's like, it ain't weird no more. It's just how my life goes. So as I look about going forward, and and I'm going through the rigmarole of having trouble with this particular friendship and how I'm perceiving her behavior toward me or lack thereof or what have you, I pray about it. Pray about it all the time so that he can help me not have the energy that the enemy wants me to engage in regards to her. Feel disrespected. No. Feel neglected. Not necessarily. Feel like this person don't have no care for themselves or you. Why? When we've had conversations about this specific thing being a struggle in her life, and I've seen it not only in her life but in my own, as I've not answered the phone when people had to reach out to me sometimes. People that I love very much, I don't even talk to. It's like, why would I, this personality, not understand or at least be able to fathom that ain't what it seems in regards to her not reaching back to me. It may be exactly what it seems, but when I pray about it, the Lord just keeps on assigning me different things rather than to say, yeah, this person is treating you bad, feel a bad way about it. And it's like, no, you need to commit to letting her go. That's for certain. That's the Holy Spirit has told me that. As long as you're holding on to her doing things a better way toward you, I can't bless you the way I want to. 2 days ago, as I was telling you on a video called Cut It Out, I allowed the Lord to finally come in and do what it is that I was holding back from him, allowing him to do more or less, which is cut her out. And with that came a certain peace that wasn't present. It wasn't that he was going to do anything. It was just that I needed to commit to letting him do it. And then from there, I would be liberated from what otherwise the enemy's doing in that regard. Didn't understand that. It wasn't supposed to understand it. I was just supposed to be willing. And so once that willingness came in, he started speaking to me different in regards to this. And that's what we're seeing right now. It's exactly what's happening. And so as I go forward, I'm like, okay, I understand this. So now I'm willing to more or less let her go. And now you're willing to show me how to live in that space while still doing what it is you want me to do in her life from a spiritual perspective. I don't need her to call me today. I don't need her to reach back to me, because I've already committed to the Lord letting her go out of my life. Problem is, his attention thus far has not been for me in regards to that spirit and what it comes naturally to me in the situation, to fully walk away from her life, but more so do more praying for her rather than reaching out to her. He's actually been telling me he has more for us to do, just not to the degree that allows for me right now to get from her what it is that would otherwise seem fair to me in regards to reaching out. She may not reach back. And if you keep watching, you will see how that plays out. But for the meantime, this is what I want you to do in her life. Pray for the people that I would otherwise tell her to pray for. And remember when you weren't talking to me. So don't judge her for not talking to me, if that is indeed what she's doing, for which you don't know, because I'm not telling you that. You see how confusing that can be? But when you trust God, you just roll with it. He wants me to be ever so clear that he's not answering questions about this person in my life. Last night, before going to sleep, it came to me very clear. In fact, it was a dream that came to me that didn't kind of allude to this, but it did kind of help me understand something. In the dream, last night, I was hanging out with somebody I didn't know that well. And what he was doing was putting bulls, actual bulls, like bulls that you see in Spain and chase people, in furnaces for a short time, torturing them. For whatever reason, he had me to believe that doing this didn't hurt the bull, but more so charged the bull up to make it more equipped to do whatever the hell kind of evil he was trying to do. That's essentially what the bull dude was doing. He was putting it in a hot furnace for like a certain amount of time. And in my dream, he was doing this. He put the bull in the furnace, closed the furnace, and walked away, and then proceeded to try to show me something else that had nothing to do with what he was doing in that way. And for me, it was like, don't leave a bull in there too long. For whatever reason, that part of my brain that told me he should never do this wasn't there, but more so just only for a time. And once we walked away from where we had left that bull, he was trying to show me something else. I'm like, yo, hey, you left him, it's time to get him out. He was like, nah, he'll be fine. I'm like, yo, we should, he's been there a little too long. And I woke up out of the dream. And essentially what came to mind is, you don't know this person. You don't know this person. Just like me and her had a conversation about the last time we spoke. It's like, yo, we don't know each other as well as we acted like we did. We don't. And for whatever reason in my mind, it was a little disturbed, but that's what the bull dream taught me. You don't know what people are up to. You don't know if somebody walks away from you and has the same morals that you do or the same beliefs that you do. You can get close to them by way of the phone like me and her was doing. You can grow fond for what it is that you perceive them to be. But you don't know what powers them you don't know what powers them financially. You don't know what she truly believes in as it pertains to her family and what structure she has. You don't know anybody until you're in their life and until the Lord reveals certain truths to you. Those truths have not been revealed to you. So for you to be as close in your mind as you think you are to this person, for all you know, she may do things that you don't align with. That's what I took from the dream more than anything else. I don't align with animal cruelty. I don't believe you can put a bull in the furnace to power him up. But if I were to believe someone who told me that because I were close to them and trusted them, they would lead me astray. That's what I took from the dream in a weird way, not to mention other things as well, but that is what the Lord woke me up thinking. Like, you don't know. And she doesn't know you. The worst demon you got in your soul, she don't know that. I do. That's what the Lord was telling me. I know what she is about. I know what you are about. And what I'm telling you is, trust me in regards to her. If you think you love this person as deeply as you think you do, trust me. Because you don't know her like that. And she don't know you. And that's truth. It was a harsh truth, and it's one that I understood, but not fully. Because what it comes down to me is, I don't really know anybody. That's the interaction I have with most people in the world because of how isolated I've been and just how far away from most I am. So it's like I can be a little more familiar than most people can because of the distance I'm used to. And that's essentially what the Lord was helping me understand. It was like she got caught up in that in her own way, and now she's trying to back away, which is something that she said, not really something that the Lord told me or nothing like that. It's like, essentially, more or less, she got lost in that. And maybe she had a conversation or a dream, something helped her realize, yo, I don't know this dude. Like I'm saying, I know him. I shouldn't be doing this, and this in his life as it pertains to making certain declarations without having those answered. And so as it came to me, it's like, all right, you need to get, in regards to myself, some distance to let that be something that you are allowing you to understand in your head as you move forward, saying you feel this way or that way about somebody you ain't spent a whole lot of time with, that you don't know as well as otherwise most people should know people that they care about as much as you say you care about this person. And with that comes the assignment. And the assignment was, pray for her in regards to the people that she cares about, as if she's in the same place you were when you weren't praying for people at all, because you wanted those same people covered. You wanted those same people to be considered in regards to me and those circumstances and things that matter to me. I wanted them to be considered, and I would have wanted the Lord to put it in somebody's heart to cover what it is that I would otherwise cover in prayer while I'm not praying. And that was the assignment. And so he put that in my heart. And so I did that. Without really knowing who I was praying for. I don't know these people. I don't know nothing. But that was what the Lord wants me to do. Not necessarily what the enemy wants me to do, which is be unhappy about the distance now placed in place. Because just like I don't know her that well, she doesn't know me that well. And to a point, the distance between us has been established because of the unknown, not necessarily because of the known. And the only way I can put forth the energy that would otherwise make me whole while I'm sitting here waiting for her to get it right in that way is me following the Lord to a T. And that's what he had to say. It's exactly what he had to say. Because you don't know her, she don't know you, but I know y'all both. And what I'm telling you is, this is what she's going to need from you right now. This is what she's going to need from you right now. While she's celebrating her birthday weekend, the enemy may or may not have his hands on something that she wants covered. And because you love her as much as I put in your heart to love her, you need to cover that. You need to cover those people as if they were your own. You need to watch over her as if she was your rib spiritually. He put my hand on my side. Spiritually. Rib. And I know rib comes from Adam and Eve. He took Eve, is basically derived from the rib of Adam. And that's essentially what he was telling me. Spiritually, you got to cover her like as if she's going to be your wife or your rib. Spiritually. Doesn't mean I'm going to put you in her life to be your husband. Doesn't mean that you got a future with her in any way. It just means that this is the assignment. And this is the fervor from which I want your intensity to be prayed. You cover her. You cover the people she's told you about. You cover every person you've ever seen in picture with her. You cover her in regards to things she don't tell you about. You make sure that you pray for her as if you're in her family, while simultaneously understanding that you don't know this person. But you do know me, God's telling me. I know you, I know her, and she knows me. Essentially what God is telling me. She knows me. Now, she may not be in a space like you are 39 years down the road, where you know not to play with me, where you know how to respect me differently, how to welcome me into your life through all the troubles that you've been through and the people that you've known. You have a relationship with me that is unique to yourself. And it took this long for it to get this close. So don't look at her like she's supposed to have it like that. Don't look at her like she's not, because you don't know. But just hear what he's telling me is more or less what he was saying. She needs you to cover her. Loved ones, circumstances, anything she may be getting into, vehicles, flights, whatever. Pray over all of it. As if she's your rib. As if she's somebody who it's your responsibility to watch her back. That's what the Lord was saying. Have her back spiritually. While she's doing whatever she's doing away from you, have her back spiritually. Essentially what he was saying to me. And I'm like, well, that sounds wonderful, but like, are you ever going to tell her to do that for me? Like, is that something that I should even consider? I don't think the answer is yes. I don't think so. I think the relationship that I have with God is unique to myself. And I don't think he's going to be talking to her in this way. I don't think anybody probably has that type of relationship with God to where they listen to him in their head and follow what he says as if he's actually speaking to them. But when it comes to stuff like this, I can tell you, this didn't come from my imagination. This was inserted in my head. And somewhere in the conversation, I heard the word housing in regards to myself. Somewhere in the midst of all of that, the word housing was inserted into the conversation that had nothing to do with what we were talking about, nothing to do with her necessarily, everything to do with me and my situation. It was while me and God were having this conversation, I heard the word housing. As clear as day from a third party voice in my head. I don't know if that means because of my obedience, he's going to give me a place to stay, but I hope it means that, because I'm definitely ready to get out of the hotel room. But I'm telling y'all, I've had a very spiritual experience where a voice came in. It's me and God having this banner where he's helping me understand what he wants me to do. And then like another person came in and said, housing. And so that's what I'm telling y'all, man. It's a very special relationship that I've come to understand and trust in regards to God and my own subconscious as it pertains to his willingness to speak into it. And I've yet to see any blemishes in regards to what it is that I want to see in the world around me based on me following that voice. I've yet to see a mess up. I've yet to see him lie, so to speak. I've yet to see something be inaccurate in regards to what it is that he says he's going to do and then do it. It's perfect batting average. And this is why I trust him. This is why I've learned to just let my mental health be what it is. If I'm crazy and if all of this is absolutely insane, that's cool. But what I'm telling you is, he told me he was going to do something. He warned me he was going to do something. And he did it. And I want to ask any of you, if that happened in your life, and you were already comfortable with not being all there, already comfortable with being both self-aware, but have already told yourself long before that there was something very wrong, would you not learn to trust that voice? Because if he didn't do what he said he was going to do, I don't think I'd have any reason to trust that voice. I'd just say, yo, I'm crazy, and I can ignore this voice or try to go get some help for what I'm listening to. But that he did what he said he was going to do to an absolute T in the way that he said he was going to do it allowed me to understand that there was some type of other influence other than my imagination. Because when you have an imagination and you're listening to voices, there should be nothing within what it is that you're saying that should actually show up in your life. Crazy people who talk to themselves and listen to voices, it's not going to be any math done after that. The voice is going to tell them to walk across the street, and they're likely going to get hit by a car or something of that nature. A voice is going to tell them to talk to somebody, and that person ain't going to be receiving them very well. It ain't going to be what that voice tells them, and then from there, they get exactly what it is that they were told would happen. I tell you, it's exactly how it went for me more than once. More than once. Especially on this side of town with North Hollywood, years after he did that thing that he told me he was going to do if I didn't get it right. In North Hollywood, he told me I could leave this there and it's going to be all right. Go now and I get there at the exact time. Stuff like that. Just help me understand and trust that voice when time comes for him to tell me something like this. To say, pray for her as if she can't pray for the people that she loves right now for whatever reason. Maybe she's in a dark spot. Maybe she's just distracted. Maybe she's dabbling in stuff that would otherwise leave her vulnerable. Maybe because of any this, that, and the third, she just needs you to be that prayer person that she would otherwise want to be if she could be that and cannot be that for her. And should I not trust that voice after all that I've just said? knowing full well that I'm getting mental health help for my head. And so I prayed, man. I prayed until it was time for me to turn over and go to sleep. And when I woke up, I found myself in a space where I decided to put that music on the playlist and then find a place for me to arrange it, which is what I'm going to look for right now. So exactly how that went. And I prayed for over an hour. That little banner went over an hour. And as I said, it wasn't about me really thinking too much. It was more so communicating with God, and this is what he inserted into my skull to believe. It's all spiritual, man. It wasn't no, oh, why ain't she hitting me up, this, that, and the third. That energy is immediately prayed off. I know how to fight that. Give me the strength. And help me remind myself that I don't know this person like that. Not like that. To where she owes me her time, or that I know what's going on, or that I don't know that she would feel a certain way if she were to speak to me at this time, or maybe she has somebody next to her she can't speak around. I don't know. And because I don't know, I need to leave a lot more room for that I don't know, and less room for the she's supposed to. That's my true north in regards to this, in regards to her. How much time do y'all see me hanging out with her? 0, right? As we've said many times. And that's the point. For all you know, she's a figment in my mind. That's how scarce of the time I see this individual. And yet, I care about her soul. To the point where it makes it difficult for me to handle things when she don't hit me up like she's supposed to. Supposed to, quote unquote. But mind you, that's how I was perceiving it before the Lord helped me understand what it is that I'm seeing now. My true north. And my responsibility at the same time. So when I tell y'all to pray, that I'm praying for her as if she's my rib, I don't want people to think at all that I think she's going to be in my life in a certain way. For all I know, the Lord does not bring her back around. It's just my understanding that I'm supposed to do what the Lord is telling me to do in her life. And that's the level of intensity he wants me to love her in this moment. Regardless if I know her or not. Because I don't have to know her in this regard. I have to know him. And he's already allowed me to feel the love that I have for this person in a physical way. Not as it pertains to me touching on her or nothing like that, but like literally praying, and then all of a sudden vibes of such help me understand that the love is real. That he gave it to me. And that it didn't need to be attached to worldly understandings or worldly intentions in any way. That's what I've come to understand. So as the world moves as it does and say you got to know this person, or because that person don't reach out to you, you need to let them go, or any of those different thoughts, I'm exempt from all of that if I'm following the Lord to a T, because he's telling me a balance of both. That I need to be willing to let her go so that he can do what it is he wants to do in her life, away from me, however it is perceived, and that she needs to know me better, etc., as we already said, in order to feel as confident that she's doing the right thing when she speaks to me the way that she does. But that for which is in God made her lose sight of that. Though we may have thought we made a mistake in regards to trusting one another, or reaching out to one another, or speaking to one another in a certain way, the Lord is helping me understand that that wasn't no mistake. It was spiritual trust, a love for God that helped us understand that there was a love for us that we should be sharing with one another in a certain way. So the Lord helped me understand. And she didn't make no mistake when she got as close to me on the phone as she did. And I didn't make no mistake when I was getting as close to her on the phone as we did. And the things that we felt, or whatever I felt specifically, back when we worked with one another, when we were in the physical, was placed there by him. And all the energy that I was holding on to while she was away, and why she didn't forget about me, or however that went in her head, not a mistake. That you can see within what it is the Lord is inserting in my head, that she made no mistake. That's what the Lord was helping me understand. And that you can trust by way of that same voice, vice versa. That's how powerful the Lord is. That's how powerful he is. And if you trust him, then you can trust what it is that you can't answer for yourself in regards to the circumstance. Well, how do I know she feel the same way, this, that, and the third? Well, if you trust that voice to a T, then you don't have to worry about those things. If you trust that voice the way that you are supposed to, then you already know the answer to that. Listen to what he's telling you. To hold up her loved ones in prayer as if she can't pray for them herself. Now you tell me if she made a mistake in caring about me. To whatever degree. Not to say that she should welcome me into her life in a different way or give me everything I want or any of that. But just that she should trust that this person means her well. And I trust that same voice to tell me to do that. It allows me to know that I can trust her, that she means me well too. So to not pay attention to what she's doing for which I've done to others as she does it to me. And not responding to me. And all of that. See, that's the power of God. It's only God that's going to keep me from thinking worldly in regards to that. Only God. There's no other reason and no other way forth to anything other than a worldly view on that. This person ain't reaching back to me. She doesn't respect me. She ain't nobody I need to be talking about, speaking about, or anything. And if I pray for her, it's just a prayer for her to get right. So that she can reflect positively upon herself. A better way of, more or less, coming off toward people that believe they love her. That she just tends to not necessarily return the love to. But that the Lord put that same trait in me would allow me to understand that that trait doesn't often show you. That person doesn't care about you. There's only one person probably in her life who could ever understand that possibility. And it's me. Because I'm like that, unfortunately. And it doesn't reflect me not caring about people. It doesn't reflect me not praying for people. It doesn't reflect me hating myself. It doesn't reflect anything other than me not knowing necessarily how to want to talk to that person in the moment. Or how to care enough about various different things that allow me to answer the phone or reach back. Even though I care a great deal. And if something happened to them, suddenly I would regret that I didn't. It takes a special person to be able to relate to what makes you who you are in a way like that. To be able to see that trait in them and also see it in you and be able to look past that. And for all I know, that's the only reason why that trait is here. For all I know, that's the only reason why I went through all of that and put others through all of that when I wasn't reaching back to them. So that I can relate to KT in this era when she does it to me. And the trust that it's not on me to dislike her for being like me. No different than I would hope others wouldn't dislike me for being like that. Power of the Holy Spirit. I'm telling y'all, man. And a lot of people don't think God exists. He's carrying me through what feels like being neglected. And the truth is, me and her have had conversations about it, so I should understand it better. It's not like she's left me hanging and then didn't tell me many times that it was never her intention to do so. Not to say that I should appreciate that in any way, but just to try my very best to look around it as it pertains to trying to judge or rather accept this person. And I was thinking of something else I told God last night. I said, God, when I met this girl, there was a lot of confusing mixed signals that came my way in regards to her. Worldly stuff. On one hand, she didn't like me. On the other hand, she was showing me she did. In ways that were undeniable. Without telling y'all too much. None of y'all business. But she was giving me mixed signals. But I cared for her in such a way as if them signals weren't mixed at all. And the things that came my way helped me understand that I was to love this person or care for this person in a different way than maybe I had some of the other ladies that had come in my life. I had been in love before. I had been devoted to somebody who wasn't meant for me before. Held on to that relationship for a long time, so I know this trait is in me. But this person was a little different. What drew me to her was different. And I couldn't really understand it or explain it or make any sense of it. But we lost touch with one another, and I held on to the thought of this person. Prayed for this person often throughout the course of being away from her for a long, long time, years, 3-4 years, not talking to this person. I finally got back in touch with her. We got close as I wanted to get on the phone anyway. I mean, you know, for the distance that I'm used to. She started reacting to me the way I always wanted her to react to me. And somewhere in this path, I lost her. After all this, it came down to her just disappearing again. And I told God, I was like, God, last night, before all of this that I've been talking about came my way, I said, God, my ego is ruptured. I didn't get the girl. Yeah, you could tell me to cut her out of my life for the betterment of how I want to be treated. You could tell me that you have a plan and that maybe she ain't right for me and all these different energies. But there's still a worldly man in front of you who was wanting the girl for a long time, went through the mixed signals, went through the whole situation that showed me that she did kind of see me a certain way. Went through a lot of different battles back when I worked with her. Battles. Spiritually and mentally in regards to certain things that had to do with whether or not I should care for her or like her in any way. Only for her to go away. She come back around and I lose her again. Like, what is it that you're trying to teach me when I go through that, God, is what I'm telling you. What are you trying to, as a man, I don't like this vibe. I don't like missing out on the girl. It affects my esteem in such a way to say, is there something wrong with me to where I can't get the girl? Like, that was a big part of it, of being willing to let her go, was being uneasy with my ego in that way. Like, I've been caring about this girl for so long, and she finally came around the way I wanted her to. Finally started seeing me the way I was seeing her, and then I lost her again. How you let that happen? That's what I told God. Like, what kind of torturous nonsense is that? And he, more or less, what came to me was, I got your back. He put my hand behind my shoulder and then proceeded to tell me what the assignment was. That's exactly how that conversation segued into me praying for people or in circumstances as if she can't pray. That's what came to me in response to saying that to God. Just to give y'all some context of how that worked. This same person told me a long time ago, and I kind of laugh about this. I laughed about it when she said it. I told her back in the day when I worked with her that I liked her and had feelings for her, however that was supposed to be. And she told me I wasn't her type because I wasn't crazy enough. She said she liked dudes a little more crazy. And she was younger, you know, I don't think she was no older than 22 at the time. I was like 33. I think I got her by like close to 11 years. She said 10, but I think it's 11. But I knew that was an immature statement. And I knew that she also didn't read me well because I was probably crazier than most of the people she dealt with. By definition. But I just thought that was kind of funny. But the point was, the girl told me she didn't like me back then. Now, I was told she was attracted to me by someone who wasn't her. Somebody else told me she liked my appearance, more or less. She didn't tell me that. Someone else did. And I chose to either believe it or not believe it. Now, she proved to me and later told me that she is attracted to me or was attracted to me up until this point, however that goes. But I had to trust that from somebody, a third party. So it wasn't like I was coming in with a whole lot of confidence to begin with. But once she told me that, I backed off. I'm not her type. Cool. All right. Hadn't gone too far at that time, so it was like, I like you, but if I ain't your type, I'm moving on. And then she proceeded to show me that somewhere after that, she began to see me the way that I was hoping to be seen. Somewhere after that conversation, she started turning it around as it pertains to what she was looking at when she saw me. I guess maybe it was how I reacted to her telling me that. I don't know. I really don't know how that works. But the point was, to her natural mind, I am not her type. So it's not surprising that she can easily walk away from me and come back around, so that may tell me something. That she ain't the one for me necessarily, because I don't naturally pop up as somebody she wants to deal with in that way. But for whatever reason, she finds herself at war with that. And that takes me back to what it is that I said about 3 weeks ago on this camera, that the Lord put in my heart. Her demons despise me. Her angels adore me. If she gets rid of those demons, she'll never ignore me. And that, my friends, is a spiritual battle that the Lord is alluding to me may be going on inside of her in regards to myself and maybe a few other things too, including maybe her relationship with God. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, because the Lord will definitely not confirm something like that to me. But this is what it is. This is the fullness of the conversation at hand. This is what is going on currently in regards to KT and myself. Day before her birthday, mind you. She's going to be however age tomorrow. The Lord made it so that I'm praying for her as if she's going to be my wife, while simultaneously not being responded to her at all. Some may call me crazy, and I would definitely agree. The only problem is that same voice that's been telling me all of this stuff has also shown me real life stuff that came true in both good and bad directions. And so now I gotta figure out how to live with that as I go forward, still not getting responses for things that I've said to her that are supposed to be uplifting and positive. I have to work with that voice more so than work with my natural mind that tells me whatever it may. And that's hard. Happy birthday, K. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.